Alright, in this video we're going to be talking about addition and subtraction of fractions because I feel this is a topic that a lot of people forget, and you'll be surprised even people who go to university forget how to do this kind of thing. So I'm gonna make a proper revision video on this, and in the next video we're gonna talk about multiplication and division. So when we're adding or subtracting two fractions, there's essentially two methods that we can use. The first one is kind of the long method, which is you find the lowest common multiple of the two denominators. So in this case of 3 and 6. And then what you do with that, okay, so we know 3 is a prime number, so it has no factors other than itself, but 6 has two factors, so 2 and 3. So then we can write 3 times 2 times 3. And that's going to become 3 times 2 is 6 times 3, that's going to be actually, because it's repeated, so I forgot that part. So 3 is repeated, so we only write it once. So this is going to be 6. Because the 3 is here and here, so we only write it once into this multiplication. So that means that it's 6. It means that we need to basically make every denominator 6. So in order to make this one 6, we need to multiply both of these numbers by 2. So this is going to be 4 on 6 plus 1 over 6. And here, whenever you have the same denominator, the only thing you're going to add is the two numerators. So you're going to write this as 4 plus 1 on the top, and then 6 is going to be the same. You do not add the denominators. So if you have the same denominator, you leave it as it is. You do not add them. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. So now this is going to come down to 5 on 6. So this is kind of the long method. Now, if you wanted a shortcut to this, and this is the one that I prefer, it works like this. So you're going to graph your two fractions. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to determine the new denominator. So to do that, you're going to multiply the two denominators together. So that's going to be 18. Then you're going to do a cross multiplication. So you're going to multiply 6 by 2. That's going to be 12. And then you're going to add 3 multiplied by 1. So that's going to be 3. And that's going to be 15 on 18. Now, this is the same fraction as that one. The only difference is that we need to simplify it. So we need to figure out, do these two numbers have any common factors? And in fact, they do, 3. So if we divide each by 3, this one becomes 5, this one becomes 6. So in general, like, I don't say that this method is faster, but I just remember this one more. So I guess it's just a matter of which one you prefer. You can use either of them, whatever you find easiest to use. But basically, this is the method I prefer because I know I can just multiply this and that, and then I can just simplify whatever I get in the end. So it's not really that tricky. So let's do a few examples with this, just to get more comfortable. So let's say we have two fractions, plus 4, 5, and 6. Now, these two are mixed numbers, in case you didn't notice that. So we need to convert them to fractions first. So we do the cycle kind of operation that I've shown you many times before. So that's going to be 3 plus 2 over 3. And then this one is going to be 6 times 4. That's 24 plus 5 on 6. Then this is going to be 5 on 3 plus 29 on 6. Now 29 is a prime number, so we cannot really divide it by 6. So this is the simplest fraction form of that. And now we're going to do the cross multiplication. So we're going to do this times that, and then this times that. So let's do that. So we have, let's just write it down here. Denominator is going to be 18. Then 6 times 5, that's 30. And then plus 3 times 29. So that's going to be 60 plus 27. That's going to be 87. So now we add those two together. So we're going to have, this is going to be 117 over 18. And they do not have any common factors. Actually, this one might, because it seems, yes, it does. So we can divide this by 3. So this one is going to be 39. And then the bottom is going to be 18. So if we divide 18 by 3 as well, that becomes 6. and then that's basically. And I believe we could actually even simplify this even further, because 39 is actually, yeah, we can divide this even further. So that's going to be 13. That's going to be 2. Okay? So that's going to be 13 on 2. We could have gotten the same answer just using the lowest common multiple method as well. Now let's do another example. Let's say we want to subtract two fractions together. In this case, we start again with two mixed numbers. Actually, let's make this one. So I just want to make it a little bit harder. So let's make that one 4. Okay, so now we have this situation here. We convert to fractions, so that's 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2 over 5 minus. We have 4 times 2, that's 8 plus 3 over 4. This one is going to be 17 on 5. This one is going to be 11 on 4. And then what we're going to do with that is we're going to find, let's just do the cross multiplication again, because I find that method quicker to do. So we do that thing. So 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 17, that's 40, plus 7 times 4, which is 28, so that's 68. And then we have a minus here, so that's, I guess the main point is that we have that minus here. 5 times 11, that's 55. So now this one, that becomes 13 on 20. And this is a prime number, so we cannot really simplify this any further. And let's just do another example just before we move on to the next one. So you already get the idea. So if you had the same denominator, all you do is you add or subtract the numerators. And if you have something like this, then you can do the cross multiplication method, or you can just find the lowest common multiple of the two and then do the method that we showed at the beginning of the video. So let's do another example. Let's do half plus 3 on 5. So just do the cross multiplication. We have 2 times 5, that's 10. Then 5 times 1, that's 5, plus 2 times 3, which is 6. That's 11 on 10. And because this one is quite easy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the least common multiple method to find that. So we're going to find the LCM of 2 and 5. Now 2 and 5, they don't have any factors, they just divide by themselves. So in this case, it's just going to be 2 times 5, which is going to be 10. So what we can do here is we can write, okay, so how do we make 5 into 10? We multiply by 2, so that's going to be 6 on 10. For this one, how do we make 2 into 10? We multiply both by 5, so that's going to be 5 on 10. And then we have 11 on 10 here. So in this case, either method would work. They're both quite quick, but I guess the cross multiplication is one that most people tend to use, because for more complicated examples, it tends to be quicker when you have large denominators. And let me just do another example, but in this case, I'm going to subtract the 3 and 5, and we're going to see what happens there. So we have the 5 times 2, that's 10. Then we have the 5 times 1, that's 5, minus 6. And notice what happens here. We have a minus 1 on the top and then a 10 at the bottom. So what this essentially means is that since this fraction is larger than that one, if we subtract it from this one, we're going to get a negative number. So this is going to be a negative fraction as we see it here. So that can also happen. So be careful with the signs. And in the next video, we're going to talk about multiplication and division of fractions.